Recording in progress.
There we go on the YouTube side. So I fixed that, so we should be good. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know, Ben. That was a big help because I had no clue there was no audio on the YouTube side. So it should be fixed now. But yeah, whoever wants to go first, go ahead. We'll give you guys, if it's a little quiet, we're just letting you guys start.
Can't they can raise their hand, I think.
Yeah, I think that you guys can raise your hand too if you want to do that. Go ahead if you're shy. Ah. Oh, that's on my phone.
One positive is the price to enter. Is low.
Okay, so
Price for a license.
low bar of entry for price wise. Okay.
Which this has come up before, and I always have to stir the pot with, like, if you had a micro business license, I don't know if you noticed this last renewal, it went up $1,000. So that's something to keep on the radar, because if they're raising the price, then maybe they're trying to do away with that license. And if that's our social equity part of these laws, then we should have it on our radar and their radar, right?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, that's actually been a positive I've seen nationwide that people say when they talk about New Mexico. It's like you guys did it right in that sense because you kept it affordable. Most other states, sometimes you have to have capital up to, or capita up to like $1 million or millions of dollars just to even be considered for a lottery. But here it was, if you have a couple $1,000, you get in. So, that's something I feel that other states need to adopt too, is just make it lower of entries for the locals, like it should be just like, the American dream, like it should be obtainable. So, yeah, I agree. Anyone else? Well, Yes,
I'll jump in. My name's Savannah Hoover, pronoun she, her. I'm a cannabis attorney here in the state of New Mexico, and I'm really just advocating for the, especially the social equity side of this. But I think some pros happening right now is, I mean, community like this, right? People who are involved and give a damn. So I'm really thankful for this community that we're able to be building, even when sometimes things don't always look totally uphill. Also, too, I think some positives of right now with different behaviors that are kind of coming from the CCD. I do think that we are getting kind of a tightening up of our industry, and because we've had a lot of people playing by the rules anyway, I think that's going to help licensees that are really here to, in the end, give quality experiences and products to consumers. So, and take care of our medical clients as well. So I think in the end, we are seeing those are my positives there. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And keep in mind, this doesn't have to be, like I think it's this. It could be something that, I really like the way this works in the industry. I want to keep it this way. Or, I like how this works. Let's expand on this. It's more ideas too, because there's been times where we do these town halls and we're kind of blown away of, not the ideas all the time, but also what's going on, how well the government is there, et cetera, et cetera. We want to know it all. So, don't be afraid to let us know.
And different parts of the state have different circumstances.
Absolutely.
As we all know. And so there's things that we from the southern part of the state don't know about Santa Fe and north of Santa Fe or east of the borders, the borders that are closest to you and how they're affecting your businesses so each part of the state is a completely different market, and it's been very interesting. And
Definitely.
there is a very similar theme, but there is differences.
Sorry, I'm tripping them out because I'm doing things on the screen and they can't see themselves. So just look at the camera, guys.
So I don't know if anybody has written into us or would like to speak, but I just want to say, does anybody have any thoughts on capping licenses?
That's actually going to be a very interesting conversation.
Hey guys, this is Jesse from Urban New Mexico, and I was at the Farmington town hall session you guys did. I do have some nervousness about the capping of licenses. I'm worried that what'll happen is that that's going to be bad for social equity. It's going to make it much like we've seen with alcohol. Licenses, so when they put a hard cap on them, these grandfathered or legacy license just became astronomically valuable, and it makes it hard for anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur and enter into cannabis. If they cap the licenses, it may not be a year from now, it may not be 2 years from now, but in 5 years it could be astronomically expensive to enter into the cannabis market. And I think that definitely affects the social equity portion of keeping as much of this New Mexico as we possibly can.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you for your input.
I remember you.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm sorry, but I want to piggyback on that because we love to be advocates for you, but there's a lot of money behind who is pushing for that, I believe. So
Yes.
please, write to your write to the CCD, write to your congressman, write to your senator about capping licenses. I mean, we're more powerful in numbers. We will do our best to advocate that for you because I believe that we are I am in alignment with that. I can't speak for the whole group. I don't believe on that, but I am in alignment. And we definitely want to be spokespersons for that. I do. But it takes numbers for sure.
Definitely.
Yes.
Cool.
Hi, this is Larry. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, Larry?
Hey, Larry.
Hey, hi everybody.
Good seeing you.
Let me turn. You can't see me, so let me just take care of that real quick.
Here, we'll put you up front. How about there? Hey,
Hey,
there's Larry.
Hi.
The cookie.
I'm also for not capping the licenses. Everybody still needs a chance. Maybe they've been working on it for a long time, and there's little niche dispensaries and growers that are doing a great job out there. And I support all of them. And just because the big guys are a little bit afraid doesn't mean we should bow to them. So I'm for keeping it open.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Cool. Yeah, if anybody else, feel free to jump into. It doesn't have to be on this topic or anything. This is just one of the things we try to do to try to kind of break the ice. It's always like this at the beginning for every town hall, so don't worry. There's nothing wrong. But we do have someone talking about in the comment section. If you ladies want to read it out or kind of just give them a lowdown of what they said or kind of break it down.
I'm blind. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Would love to be able to have multiple locations as a integrated micro. I would be willing to pay an additional fee and also be able to put up our plant count to maybe 500 or so, maybe even a multi-grow.
Micro
Micro grow. Micro tier. So there is.
It's so small. You're good.
You.
So there's 200 off the bat and more expensive. So pretty much they just want more tiers for more plants just to make it more easy. And I agree because it's kind of a pain in the ass for the micros right now. Like when we open up the micro licenses, I always thought that 200 plants wasn't enough. I am still a firm believer that 200 plants is enough. 500 is a little more reasonable. I kind of feel 1,000's a little, more where you would need to be. But 500, I kind of feel that needs to be in that area. If anybody else has any comments on that, please jump in at any point. Ladies, do you have anything on that too?
I, of course, have some.
Yeah, of course. Great. Yeah.
I believe that kind of works with the ability for New Mexico to celebrate craft cannabis with the micro licenses as well. I believe that those all kind of work together. And it really is, I hate to compare cannabis to micro brewers or alcohol, but it's really neat that there is the possibility to have a craft batch cannabis scene in the state. And so I think all of those kind of go hand in hand. If we want to embrace the craft cannabis grower, connoisseur, then micros is, in addition to social equity, is a huge pro of this industry.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey guys, can I jump in?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Hey guys, this is Jeffrey Castillo. I'm with High Lonesome down in Silver City, New Mexico. Nice to see all my great friends again. I'm actually really a big advocate for the improving of micro businesses, which with myself as a co-chair along with Q, she's on this meeting, I believe, as well, with the Micro Business Alliance. We're under the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, and we really are trying to fight for micro businesses. So what we're trying to do is gather micro businesses to, get their voice and see what we could do to create something better for micro businesses, whether it's farmers market, promoting networking for each other, different things that we could change in policy, like the plant count, stuff like that. I know they talked about the closure of licenses, but what I'm hearing more is it's more of a slowing down of the licenses that they're looking for, but we're trying to protect the micros. You know what I mean? Some of our locals that were willing to be grandfathered in, I'm only a producer manufacturer. Say I need a retail here in about a year or whenever I could be able to do that. That option would still be in for at least micros and local community stuff. So I don't know if any of maybe my co-chair might want to add something to that. But this is something that we're really pushing hard for, and we really want to try to do the best for for micro businesses with this association and utilizing all the resources we can with the chamber and really making something good for the micro businesses. This is where I stand.
Yeah.
How do you join the alliance?
We're barely organizing some of this stuff. We barely joined like about a month ago. So we're putting together. We're having weekly meetings every Monday, trying to get organized before we, put out the word. What we need is a bunch of emails from all the micro businesses, so they could get on our list. So when we do get something out there for us to act on, everybody's included, that wants to join. So that's our progressive stance right now.
Hey, Jeff, this is
And
Veronica.
actually, I'm going to checkpoint right now. Thank you, sir.
Jeff,
Thank
this
you,
is
Jeff.
Veronica.
Anyway,
And
He's got to the point.
yeah, we need to talk. Get a
From
hold
high
of me afterwards.
maintenance. From high maintenance.
Oh yeah,
And
real
the
High
quick.
plug.
maintenance and the plug.
There you
Yes,
go.
we need to talk. That's all I wanted to say.
yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Real quick, before you guys speak, could you let everybody know who you are and where you're from? Some people have the captioning on. They're saying that, it's just a string of words and they're not sure who's talking. So if you guys could do that, that'd be great. Thanks, Veronica.
This is Savannah. Jeffrey, would you mind dropping your email in the chat so that if there's any micro businesses in this chat, they could reach out to you?
Yes, or maybe I could have my chair do that. Like I said, I just went through a checkpoint here in southern New Mexico, heading back.
I will type it if you tell me.
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's CastilloJ5@hotmail.com. So CastilloJ5@hotmail.com.
Got it.
Once we get, we're about to get our official alliance email. And as soon as, we'll get that out to you guys. We need your guys' email.
That's awesome. That is a pro going and playing itself right here, the community coming together. And thank you so much, Jeffrey, for letting us know about that. That's going on, and that's a big hope for micro licenses. Does it have a name yet?
The micro business alliance. Pretty
Micro
much.
Business Alliance. Okay.
Very cool.
Dope.
Micro business.
Yeah.
To the point, name to the point. Awesome.
Right.
Would anyone else like to build on that pro for micros? Okay. So another pro that has been discussed before is the fact that the University of New Mexico has a program that teaches about cannabis, correct? So that is really great to know that even though it might feel that some things are, we have to fight extra for some things, the newer generations or people that would like to just go and get educated on it now have that option. And I hope that they can join us in this community as well soon.
Awesome.
That's
Dope. Anybody want to, go off of that or anything?
If I can, my name is Colin Ross, and I actually work with Herb alongside Jesse. And I moved here to New Mexico from Texas. I moved here about 6-7 months ago, and that is why I moved here. I have been working in the cannabis industry in Texas for about 4 years now, managing CBD shops. And I wanted to be able to help people, help my fellow man, and not be persecuted for what I do and what I'm passionate about. And so coming out here and pursuing a career in cannabis and looking to, go to school and advance my education and learn every single thing I can about this, it really brings people to New Mexico. It lets people know, hey, we're different. We're awesome. You want to learn? You want to do something cool? Come check us out.
Yep.
definitely,
yes.
definitely.
Bringing people into the community and providing into the economy, which is a big pro. Thank you so much. Tracy and I are also from Texas, as well as Val. So
No, not for long.
well,
Well,
She lives there right
you still
now.
are.
okay. Now, would you guys like to add any more pros before we move on to maybe a more specific topic, because this one was directed to Santa Fe. So if we have any people directly from Santa Fe or in the surrounding area, we would love to hear from you guys as well.
It'd be great to hear from you guys, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was the harvest up there this year?
How's the snow?
I guess snowboarding is going to be pretty dope soon. So let us know in the chat, or just go ahead and just jump on in. I think Will.
Good to see you guys. This is Will with First Crop New Mexico. Yeah, we got a lot of snow up here, needless to say. 12 plus inches in town. In Las Vegas, like 2 feet is what I heard. So definitely a lot going on. But yeah, I'd like to tune in on the micro license. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it provides many platforms for solid business owners to step into the space and to do what they're good at first and foremost, and then move on to acquiring other models and building from there. I don't think they should go away, and I don't think they should be pressured from a monetary standpoint either. I think this increase in cost that's on the table now is fair, but I don't think it should go upwards from there. I think it should be steady moving forward. And yeah, I think it's a great license. I'd like to see the plant count come up as well. That's obviously needed. I think it just provides them a lot of space to grow. And to the gentleman who just commented as well, it's essential for bringing people into the state, for letting people who aren't necessarily well funded or are good at one particular thing, or people want to pull together to y'all's points to operate a micro license together. Like it's a great opportunity. So I think micro should stay. I think shouldn't be pressured financially, and I think the plant count should go up.
For sure. Definitely. Thanks for Will. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Will.
thank you.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
I want to say something, maybe between you guys, but out there too, you can help me. I was thinking I might have a couple of bills mixed up as for the legalization. Is that it was determined to be $5 or $10 per plant after the 200?
Yeah, I think it's $5 a plant, but they could do up to, I believe, $50 a plant. It's up to the CCD what they really want to charge. So they could go down to like 1 penny, but it's at $5 right now, I think.
That was what I remember it. So if you are at 200 and you want to go to 300, wouldn't you just pay
So
that
micros
fee?
are
Is that what
exempt. Micros are exempt from that, actually.
I got you.
Yeah, they're exempt from that plant tax, which is actually something that we wanted to make sure stays in, because that's a huge benefit to the micros, especially the ones getting started out. The tax doesn't start until you get to the big boy licenses, past the micro. Then you do start paying the taxes.
That was my confusion.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Anyone else on the specific to Santa Fe kind of issues? Because sometimes a lot of these issues are catered to just that area, but there could be some help that we could look in, or maybe some changes that would help in other places too. Anything over to that's been argued a few times, and I think one of the things that they brought up is that's going to fluctuate if they change the plant count number too, which will then affect the micro numbers too. So like if there's 20,000 now, and then we know that's a rule, and it drops to 10,000, well then the micro is just lost down a plant count too. I get it's supposed to be fair, but it's also kind of where do they benefit, and where does it kind of screw them over in the end too. If something changes, that number changes too, and it affects the micro, so it's kind of like a trickle down effect almost. But I get where you're coming from with wanting to do that percentage so they can get more, but at the same time, once that changes, which we all know it will, it'll also affect the micros. Yeah, it's set in the bill right now. What he's saying is that change it in the bill to it reflect to be 10% of what a big license will get, or the most. And right now it's 20,000. And so they would get 10% of the 20,000. And if that 20,000 changes, which I think it might actually, because there's a lot of talk of wanting to change it to go down
Yes.
instead of 20,000 to 10,000 or something even lower. Because to be honest, 20,000 is kind of ridiculous.
They're
So
growing some craft there.
yeah, that's real craft, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens, but there are talks of changing that, so it would have to change in the bill. So yeah, 27,000, and then you have the illegal places that just got shut down in Farmington that had 400,000 or something stupid. But yes, thank you, bravo to the state of New Mexico, the CCD, the state police for shutting down that illegal grow, because that was
That one, now they need the rest of them.
yeah. Now they need to shut down more. So I'll stop yapping. I'll let you guys take over again. I just wanted to add that in there.
27,000.
Yeah.
Well, shall we move on to the cons?
Sure.
Oof. All right. The dread. I know y'all are gonna eat this one up. All right. So floor is your guys' your floor right now. So go ahead and go with your cons. We know there's gonna be a lot. I know it's hard to think about the cons when there's so many. So I mean the pros when there's so many cons. So go ahead.
I'd like to just say one more thing, is to the Farmington folks that have joined us. It was in that same weekend that we were having the town hall there that the raid happened at the
Yeah.
bank.
As we were doing that. Yeah, you're right.
We were making some energy there about that BS happening out in Waterloo and still continuing on. So I just think that was sort of an interesting thing that we did there.
Yeah. Actually, the next week.
Yeah,
The
it was,
following week. Yeah, the
exactly.
very following week is when it happened. So go ahead, guys, with your cons. What needs to be fixed in the industry? We know there's a lot, but having you guys say it means a lot more than just us assuming.
Right.
And you have Beth.
I'll start it off. I'll break the egg. This is Jesse with her again.
Sorry.
I want to start with the good. It seems to me, and maybe it's because I'm doing more networking, meeting more like-minded people, that there seems to be more willingness in the New Mexico cannabis scene for collaboration and for supporting each other. And I love seeing that. I'll flip it out on the con and say it needs to happen more, because we're all a part of this. We're all in it together, and we need to advocate. And outside of what you guys are doing and a few other pockets, I'm sure they're out there, there's no unified voice for the people who are financially invested and passionate about the industry that we work in.
I agree.
Yes.
We agree.
I'd hope. Do you need a chair too? There's a stool over there.
No.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
But yeah, thank you for that one. And then I was going to make another point on that was brought up recently, but I totally forgot what it was now because I was listening to that. But yeah, if anybody else has any other cons or anything. Oh, yep, we're waiting for someone to get in. There it is. We're admitting people in. Thank you for joining us. There we go. My bad. I didn't mean to unpin. There we go. Cool.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
But yeah, go ahead and chime off with your cons, guys.
I will say, picking back off of what Jesse said, the pro of that is that it's really, really exciting to be doing these things, to be talking with people and collaborating. I talk with people every single day, and I hear all the time, hey, let's do something. Let's work with someone else. And the forefront of it, being able to put these things together, is very, very exciting to do.
Thank
Agreed.
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
It is exciting.
Yeah, to know that we are making ripples that create such effects too, and that we get to see them especially in January and such. So thank you so much for joining. Okay.
Any other cons?
And what Nicole said just reminds me of, we are planning to attend part of the session, and we encourage you all to be a part of it as well.
Yeah, definitely. And guys, there might be times where we might give you the call the night before or 2 days before, and we got to get up there, but that's the way it is. But a lot of the industry is already in Albuquerque, and this is already the Santa Fe Town Hall. So those of you who are already in there, you guys can just show up. It's in your city. it's kind of crazy that, and I'm not trying to scold anybody, but I drove 4 hours. Jeffrey from High Lonesome drove, 5 hours. And then one of my friends from Alamogordo drove 3 hours, 4 hours as well. And we're all from the South, but no one from Albuquerque or Santa Fe showed up for the, drive-through thing to save it. The legislators beg and beg for us to tell them, what we want and what we need. So we need to start doing that. They also want cannabis in the green room up there too. They have like local beer, local wine. One of the senators was like, "Where's the cannabis stuff, guys?" So it's up to you guys to give them the, the little gift baskets now. We need to start doing that because they want it. So, we need to kind of, band together a little bit more. I know we hated the government for so long. They were after us for so long, but we joined this program and we're playing this game. And we have to do it that way. And that's just the way it's going to work. So here's so you guys can read that off. Go ahead.
Show up at CCJ on Wednesday afternoon. Courts, Corrections, and Justice Interterm Committee, Roundhouse, room 307.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and that's going to be a committee hearing. They're going to be talking about some cannabis stuff, and that's a judiciary thing. So they're going to be talking about legal stuff and issues and police stuff. I think there's going to be a couple police people there and everything, Val.
Is this on the
13th?
The one that I sent you?
Yes, I think that, yeah.
And I forgot what it was.
Veronica has her hand up, so I will go ahead, Veronica.
Oh, Veronica.
Hey guys, this is actually Matt.
Oh shit! Oh, Veronica, your
fun.
voice got so deep. This is.
I got a makeover.
Go ahead.
So one thing that I was thinking of as a negative that we could definitely turn into a positive, getting kind of tired of the MSOs coming in and trying to dictate the policy for the entire state, and specifically with regards to pausing licensure. It's if you notice, it's something that's being said and wanting to be done by those with the deepest pockets and the most licenses in the game, while those of us who are micros or tend to be smaller operators on the full side of the spectrum, won't have those opportunities available to us if licensure is paused. So getting a little tired of those conversations happening.
Definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Yes.
me too. And we're seeing that in other states too. We saw the Florida bill fail, and it was mostly due to the fact that there was so much intervention from the huge corporation companies. Really wanted to make it very hard for other people to get in. You couldn't even home grow. I tell people all the time, home grow equals just prohibition with perks.
Right.
That's not real legalization at all. And when a bill has that, I will fight against it just because of that, because that's just wrong. You're punishing people for growing weed, but then you can tell them they can go buy it. That's a little ridiculous. So even here in New Mexico, we've been able to grow cannabis, even though it's kind of a pain in the ass for the process when we were medical, but we've been able to do it pretty much the whole time since we've been medical. So I don't think that should change.
No.
Oh, anyone else? You can also raise your hands. If I don't see it, I'm sorry. There's quite a few of you in here. Go ahead and unmute yourself, and you can go ahead and just blurt it out. No big deal. Yeah, that's a good point. Start reaching out to your reps. Josh said that in the chat. Reach out to your reps. It's really easy to find out who your reps are. I can find the link for you guys to find my representative, and I'll put it here in the chat so you can put it in. You just put your address, and it tells you exactly who. You can set up a meeting. Oh, thank you so much. Holy crap.
Yay.
It's like, wow, that was like magic. I feel like I'm on a TV show, where they mention someone and they put up the picture.
Yep.
Yeah, I felt like that was it. Yeah, thank you for that.
Awesome.
I appreciate it. There's a link in the chat, everybody. If you guys want to follow that, you can find who your legislator is, and that way you can know who to exactly contact. I would say contact from the federal down all the way to the city. Contact every representative you can, because cities have a lot of power in cannabis. Actually, they actually do still have a lot of power. That's why Las Cruces has 24-hour cells. That's why we have consumption lounges and a few other things too, is because we convinced the city that that is the best route to go. And it's been nothing but great stuff with it and everything. So. But that's the agenda. Sorry, I thought that was going to be Find My Legislator. That's the agenda for the committee hearing that's going to be here in a few days. So thank you for that. But if you could give me the link for the Find My Legislator, that would be great, dude.
I wanted to say I remember now what that hearing is about. And it's an interim committee hearing criminal courts and justice, and it's by Representative Dewey. Is she a senator now?
Senator Duhigg, yes.
Senator
She vice
Duhigg.
chairs the Judicial Committee.
Yes.
Under
okay.
Cervantes.
And it's about having police force with the CCD when they go out to like these illegal grows, or I don't know what the parameters on that could be. Is it going out for the huge legal grows, or is it going out for your neighbor down next door?
Yeah.
You know, so I just think we need to like pay attention to this kind of stuff when we start to bring the police or the idea of the police back when not that I don't think that CCD could use the plan with the police with what's going on out there in Estancia and Waterloo and God knows what other places. But still, I think we should keep an eye on that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mean this interim. I meant he's the chair of the regular Judicial Committee, is really what I meant. Sorry, during the legislative session. But yeah, thank you for clarifying on that point, too, who the chair is of that interim. Because it's a mixture of different representatives. It's not like, it is during the legislative session. Yeah. So thank you for that clarification. But one thing I wanted to mention, and Josh McCurdy did say this, is taxes. And this is something that I've been vocal about, too. Taxes. We do need to tackle this. We are at a threshold. If it goes any higher, we're kind of screwed. Ladies, I don't know if you want to talk on that. You literally, work in the industry too, and you see it.
Yeah, I mean, it is really. It's interesting to know that there's so many people wanting. I don't know, Tracy. You're closer in the industry firsthand. How would you explain that?
Well, if the taxes go up, then everything is more expensive, right? So then it pushes people to the traditional market because if they cap like what we're paying, do you know the tax percentage right now?
Isn't it like 20%?
It's 20% total, but that's when you add in the state tax. But I think it's a 12%.
Yes,
I mean, and it's a big difference. I mean. Being a bud tender at the store, people come in and they're like, well, I saw it online as this. Why is it so much here? Oh, that's without the tax included. And people start to wonder, are you guys is it gonna go higher? I mean, I'm trying to get my medicine at that point. Why am I paying more?
And I agree. I think we need to drop it to 10. I think even lower in the future, but I think 10's a good start. Because we don't want to be like, Washington, where it's like, 30 something plus percent, 35, 36%. It's ridiculous up there. And we're going to be close to 30% when this is said and done, because every year it's going to raise 1%.
Incrementally.
Yeah, incrementally it's going to raise 1% until it's almost to 30%. So, that's something, and I think that's something the legislature is looking at too. Yeah. They're looking to change it. They had a bill last legislative session. It didn't pass, but it looks like they're trying to change that to tackle it. And I think they were just trying to keep it at 20% because this next year is when it goes up to 21%. So we do need to do something about that for sure. And we have more stuff here as well.
The former director of Reg and Licensing is now an elected New Mexico State Senator, Senator Linda Trujillo. District is in Santa Fe.
Oh, is that just the other day, I guess? Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't know she was running.
I didn't either, but we were at her when she left the CCD. We were there for that hearing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was that the one? Like 2
So,
years ago.
let me ask you guys something. How do you guys feel about the inspections, the way they're going? We've been hearing a lot of this low-hanging fruit stuff. We heard it in Farmington, and I keep hearing it, in other places too. They keep going after the same people, or they keep trying to go after just the easy ones, or like if you, for example, you go to Cookies, they get inspected all the time now, and I think you guys get inspected quite a bit too.
Yeah, we do.
I think that's a little ridiculous. I mean, what do you guys think? 9 inspections as a micro, and see, that's ridiculous. When you have places that haven't been inspected one time since they've been open, and they're allowed to open without being inspected. See, that's ridiculous, and that's what we're talking about. It's exactly what we're talking about. I guess we can write that down for sure.
Yeah,
you do? Okay, thank you. But yeah, that's something huge, and if anybody wants to speak on that, please do. I'd love to hear you guys verbally, express this as well, and let us know. Yes, please show up in Santa Fe. You know, like especially those in Albuquerque and already in Santa Fe. You guys are already there. Please go and show up, because if not, someone else speaks for us. And you know, we usually don't like what they say. So
I have something to bring up.
there we go. Go ahead, Larry. And Susanna will get you right after.
So if the federal government in February or whenever they revisit lowering the schedule to 3, which of course I think we're all against, what's that going to do to us here and states' rights and everything else?
So the federal government already clarified that the Schedule 3 thing isn't going to change the Schedule 1 activity stuff. So you're going to have we're going to have 3 different freaking industries. You're going to have the hemp industry. You're going to have what I call the 280E industry, which is the Schedule 1 activity. And then you're going to have the Schedule 3 industry, which is going to be the medical industry. And they're all going to be controlled by different government entities. And they already clarified that that is going to be the case. And they also clarified that this isn't even going to fix banking. You know, like the banking won't even be really fixed at that point yet.
Are you saying the 280E is not coming into play?
280E isn't going away, is what I'm saying.
I don't think we know anything right now because we're having a change in administration. Who knows? You know, what's being said right now is going to come to fruition. They already postponed what they were supposed to do like this week, the next few days after the election, to February.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of nervous time, and I think we're going to need to stay on top of advocating for how to work our businesses, that are established in all these recreational and medical states.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, because I've already talked in with someone before, and I think we're going to have to add trigger laws into the CRA, into our bill, because legalization is coming one way or another. But I think if we get ahead of it, we add trigger laws, I think we'll be ahead of the curve. Right now we have like a trigger law for interstate commerce, but both governors have to be in agreement. If we just change that simple one to once federal laws change, we can allow interstate commerce, I think that'll be more of a smoother transition to that, because interstate commerce is coming whether we like it or not. And that's going to be another huge slaughter for every state in the nation. Once that happens, we're going to see another kind of reset in every market after that.
I think we're a long way off from interstate commerce. I think,
with the way things that look like they're going, we're just on the same path that we were before. And I think the next, few years is probably going to be about the same of what we're dealing with, and if not, a little better-ish. So we'll see. A couple of prohibition with perks is kind of what I'm thinking.
Anyway, what's ahead of Val?
Hey, good to see you. That's why you and I are all G's, Larry.
And we had somebody that wanted to speak. They had their hand up. I think that's Savannah. Go ahead and speak, Savannah.
Yeah, hi, Savannah again. Attorney here that works in cannabis law transactions, but also in the tax area. So speaking on federal, it was really up in the air up until the election, but now we know, and Chad, as you pointed out, like having different jurisdiction, my heart is palpitating right now. Like it's not going to be a fun time, but again, like we're all feeling this right now. Just so you guys know, next week we're having a Cannabis Law Institute on Wednesday. It's on the 13th as well, but I bring it up because this will be a huge topic for us, so I'll update the group as we're able. And I can't really speak to taxes here in New Mexico either, except to say, we do have to advocate for this number to get down, or we're pushing people to the traditional market. But as far as right now, just figure out a way to carve out as much as you can for 280E and escape that. It isn't going away. Buckle up. It kind of hurts right now, but we're in it together, guys.
Yeah.
We've made it this far.
Trauma buddy.
Yeah, trauma buddies.
Yeah. No, it's tenuous times. We all need to pay attention and take nothing for granted.
Yeah, just you guys write this one down. One thing I want to mention. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, one last thing. I'll just speak for a couple clients who have passed on information about inspections as well. Same thing, multiple inspections, whereas, and these are for, cannabis license holders that are sitting at marginalized identities that should not be targeted at a higher level. So, also keep an eye on that and just stay vigilant, y'all.
Awesome.
About inspections, I also heard, and I want to let everyone know that people have been inspected and then never receiving a report, and the CCD forgetting that they inspected that place. So if you get inspected, document it, and if they don't follow up with the email, you follow up with the email, so that, you know, I don't know.
You get heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See, one of the things about this thing that I feel would even help with the oversaturation, quote unquote, that's going on for wanting to cap licenses is the fact that we are being told and under the impression that the CCD is giving out licenses without inspections. So that's creating a bump up of licenses. Plus there's people in the state that own like 15, 20, 30 licenses that have not been activated. And I think that those should go under a deactivation, and they can pay a fee to reactivate them further down the road too. But I think all of that clouds the numbers and gives different false impressions.
And someone made a comment here: is transparency on the basis of frequency of inspections a step they could take? I guess so. And to be honest, on their website, they have a place of inspections that they've done and things that they found, but there's nothing on there. It says coming soon. So I just don't know if they're lagging on something like that or what. But I do feel that, since the retailers are forced to, show their sales, I think there does need to be more transparency. Like, how much are these farms actually producing? Like we get like the numbers of how many plants there are, but we don't have a number of how many pounds they're producing. We don't know, and that's only on their side, and I kind of feel that needs to be out there too as well. So that's a really good point too. We're writing that down now, so thank you for that. And as we said before, guys, we're going to write this down. Eventually it'll go into a document, and then that document will try to get out to as many people as we can, and hopefully the legislators get to it too. So
is everybody, Chad, aware of Bill Slubin and the reports that he puts out on LinkedIn?
A lot of people are, I believe, but I'm not sure if everybody is. I don't know if Bill Slubin joined. I sent him a link for this. He said he should be able to, but he could have got busy. But yeah, Bill really backs a lot of the stuff that we talk about with numbers and actual data and everything that the state provides. So if you guys don't know who Bill Slubin is on Instagram, it's DataHerd, DATAHERD. If you guys follow him, I share some of his stuff. Actually, right now in my stories, you can find his profile because I shared something from his LinkedIn. But he's a really good profile to follow on LinkedIn too. I know Nicole follows him too.
Yes,
it's very valuable information. Everybody should definitely, and we should all hook up on LinkedIn as well, because that's where the professionals are.
Definitely. On November 12th, Bill will be doing his presentation for the October numbers. It will be at 12 o'clock if anybody's interested. I'm not sure if you need a LinkedIn profile or if you're able to log in directly, but I would check it out.
Okay. You guys can go ahead and take care of that one too.
Can you please let people know that they can attend interim committee meetings on Zoom and make public comment via Zoom, and also during the legislative session?
Do we have to sign up prior to that, or is it something that we can log on right in the moment? Because I know there's been some where you have to go in the day before, right?
That's a good question.
Usually on the documentation, when you go to the website, it'll tell you the process of joining. So just make sure you guys read. Make sure you read everything, because that'll make sure that you get in. Because bureaucracy is a bitch.
I'd like to bring up something too. Testing.
Yes, testing.
Yes. Okay. Let's get on to testing for sure.
These are links here, the calendar and what's happening.
Thank you, Advocate and Will, for the links. Oh, that's the.
Oh, that's
the link for the what's it called, for the data herd. Awesome, thank you.
What's happening? Okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, they're usually an hour long. He calls them lunchtime meetings, so it'll be from 12 to 1, and he gets right to it. It's really efficient.
Cool. So let's get on to the testing, because that's our first line of defense that's not working. Right now, it's kind of failing us, and it's not just in New Mexico either. It's nationwide. So yeah, let's talk about that. Y'all can chime in, whatever. Oh, cool. It's something. Go ahead. You can do this one if you want. Sorry.
It would be nice to be called ahead of time and told I'm going to be inspected so I can be there. Both times they showed up unexpected. I wasn't able to be there because being out of town / deliveries. I'm a small team and don't always have staff on hand or a person able to give them a tour.
That's a good point. You know, like I could see like it going both ways. Like, well, we don't want you to, you know, hide things or whatever. But then there is that point, and to be honest, like I don't think there should be any punishment or anybody should get in trouble if you're out making a delivery. You know, if you're not there, because sometimes these are really, really, really small teams. Like he's saying, like it's just him and another person essentially. And every now and then they may have, you know, a few hands helping them in a day, but that's like one day. So yeah, that's a good point, and I don't know if you guys want to write that down or what. Cool. And then yeah, well, let's talk about testing. Do you guys think that testing's working? Do you think we need improvements? Do you think it's working great? Let us know. Yeah.
Easy access to labs is your, you know, all those things.
Do you ever double test?
Testing sucks. There's one right there. We'll write that down.
But do you want to test for heavy metals? Do you want to test for, more terpenes? Do you want to test for cannabinoids?
Testing is hard when it's expensive. Here, can you pull it down?
Yeah.
Testing is hard when it's so expensive. Once everything is added up.
That's true, because like isn't terpenes an additional thing and all that?
And that's something that has been a common comment that everybody that we visited so far in the town halls has made. That and the BioTrack situation. Having issues with BioTrack, if you guys want to chime in on BioTrack.
Yeah, whenever your voice, it doesn't have to be just text, you know, all that. Whoa, here we go.
Whoa. You scroll down one more. There you go.
Biotrash, yeah.
That's also true.
Yeah, so the consensus is that it's expensive testing.
So what is the one that you're saying?
Whoa. There you go.
I think it would be valuable to do same training for your group to become more comfortable with attending legislative hearings and thereby be heard and seen more frequently. Testing was actually discussed during recent hearings for the budget for the DOH and their medical cannabis and recreational programs at LFC. Which is a great point. I wish it goes back to something that was discussed. I wish that it was more public or just able to be available to us who are in the industry, but not necessarily be connected to a company that is doing very well in the industry that is going to have people that just know about these things. So I do wish there was a platform where everything could be kind of posted. I know that you could go onto the individual websites and check out their dates, but it's always, there's with so many different organizations and with this being advocacy, I think that's where people they have a hard time kind of like separating that free time and be able to show up to these things. But I think if there was a platform where everyone could say it, then it could
For sure. And I feel like there's a lot of times where people don't even know that it's happening, right? That it's not advertised. Right. And it's usually like afterward we're like, wait, you had that? There was a gathering? How did I not know?
And it would be nice to know that, because the industry, and I try to share it where I can, but there's times where I don't know because, I'm like one of the only ones who shares it on like online and everything. And,
I think the chamber does.
Yeah, the chamber does do too. But, I try to as well. But if I don't hear about it, I can't share it. So if someone knows about it, if you send it to me, I'm not going to not try to give you credit. But, I'm going to share it at least too, and it helps everybody else too.
And it shouldn't be about like, well, you knew the right person to be able to have that kind of information. Like it should be available to everybody to have that.
So, I mean, maybe they need to be a little more active on their social medias, like the, CCD and maybe, other governments, because they have an Instagram and, they have an X and all those other platforms.
There was a point made that there's lack of communication.
Yeah.
And transparency. So this is not the first time that we've heard this.
Yeah, this is something we hear about a lot. And testing, not being inspected, because that's one thing I've heard too. And it's the second time I've heard that CCD isn't inspecting testing facilities, or that they don't have the capabilities or whatever. I do know the state has the capabilities they have a state testing facility, and they've never used it before. And I think they have like brand new equipment in there and everything, and they've never tried to use it. I feel that testing is something is overlooked a little bit too much, but we really, really, really need to tackle it.
And I just kind of want to piggyback, and then I want to follow up with asking Val to explain some of the testing that they fought for in medical and recreational. But when you think about saturation and you think about testing, imagine how much weed wouldn't make it through a vigorous testing system.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about that when when testing is expensive or when testing is a pain in the ass. Like, in my opinion, you should be proud of your test results. You should be proud that your weed is clean.
Mm-hmm.
That you should be proud that there's no amendments in it or pesticides in it or molds in it or spider mites in it.
Yeah.
So I just, when you think about what a pain in the ass testing is, and maybe the solution is better pricing with the state lab.
Yeah.
Like Chad just talked about, or support from the state for a more affordable testing. And then I wanted to ask Valerie to share what was fought for as far as testing goes.
Well, actually, testing has always been an issue.
Yeah.
Since the opening of the program at the Department of Health and first being put out to patients. There was no testing. There was nothing on the containers that said the pesticide amount or anything. It was just, I think there might have been THC. I can't remember if it even had any of that on it.
I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
No, not our very first ones. They didn't have much of anything besides here's what the flavor is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was about it. I remember going into places and you're just like, cool. They would just be like, this is blue whatever, and you're like, all right. And then, as far as testing, my 2 cents on it, I'm with you. I think this would help if the state would do all the standardization of the testing, the solutions. So everything is bought from a central place, which is the state of New Mexico. And then when you go in there, the state can go do a run to make sure everything's calibrated right with those solutions. So then nobody ever has an scapegoat to be like, well, I use solution B on my machine A or whatever crap that, you know what I mean. If you give people a loophole, they'll find it. So if the state, like Chad said, in our medical days, they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a testing lab that I bet is still wrapped in plastic. So, if they just pull that out of there, make the money, another thing we need to do is find where that money goes with our taxes. Like, it should go to stuff like this to make our community better, to make our industry better, because when we come out on nationwide, you look at where we're at in the United States, we're central. And then you have people like Royal Jones's Baked Chicken. That gentleman owns Mesilla Valley Trucking, okay? So if you don't think that dude ain't gonna, he'll be happy to load up an 18-wheeler for you with the price and send it to New York. Our green chili is already known a hot item in the world. So we can back that out with our hot, our spicy cannabis that we're throwing down too.
Crafty craft, yeah.
Yes. So and then we live in a wonder. I was telling somebody this today. We were talking about growing and cultivating. He's in Tatum, and I was like, well, we live in such a beautiful place with an arid climate that we get to do the reverse. We can build up humidity, and then we can release it when we need to in the late flowering sections, and then that's how you frost it out. And we have all the sunshine in the world. We have everything. We can run it. And then we need to do everything with precision fertigations and stuff. So we need to get on to we need to get with our lawmakers and see how much a gallon of water in our industry makes in the GRT compared to a gallon in pecans, a gallon in alfalfa. Because when you open field irrigation alfalfa, you lose 25% right off the bat.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of gallons. And then they always complain to us like the devil's lettuce is drinking it all up. And I'm like, man, I'm country. I know where that water's going. I watch it evaporate right up. So, I think those are my 2 things about, New Mexico and especially the testing. I'm a big fan of if we can, because then even in all our meters and stuff, everything has solutions and calibration solutions. So we need to centralize that so we can make a really good standardization. And even the equipment, the testing that people are using, from their liquid to their gastrographers or ever how bad I screwed that word up. You know.
Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, those are my 2 cents on the testing and how that works. And then, you know, I think the good ones will work themselves out. You know, you're finding the right genetics and you're right how you're doing it and dialing stuff in. Everybody knows if you did it good or if you screwed it up. Let's be honest. Like if you know cannabis, you can be like, oh, that must have been a rough run. God bless you. You know, and I think we need to be honest with each other about that too. And growers have a lot of ego, but we need to have an ego to win in the nationwide situation. Oklahoma was really good about being Oklahoma cool. If you weren't from Oklahoma, you weren't that cool. You know what I mean? You were cool because you were in the industry, but you weren't Oklahoma cool. So because you weren't local, which was a unique feeling there. Not really at all. But, you know, I learned a lot. So in New Mexico, you know what I mean? We fight a lot with each other anyways. So I just think we need to fight to be the best and just be honest and you know what I mean? And just realistically, I think we just have more grow-offs. Like if everybody wants to settle the grow stuff, everybody get the same strain and let's see where we're at. Let's smile about it. You know, and then we can make it even fun to where we could take that medicine and sell it to discount to medical patients because it's the same strain. Like, let's run some 1-to-1s. I just looked up a sour tsunami, which is a 1-to-1. And I've been looking for that damn strain for 10 years now. And thank the good Lord, I just found it. And I plan to bring it to market. So, thank you.
Well, appreciate that, Josh.
Thank you for your input.
Well, I think the main thing is that we're looking for standard, either as a state lab that can that we can like work some standards off, that can be the final say, that can be a lot of things, but it's just getting a law together and asking for the money for it, and are seeing how we can do it through the CCD. But yeah, I think that standardized testing for the health and the cleanliness and for patients who are still purchasing, because God knows the patients in the early days of the cannabis were smoking straight pesticide. And we couldn't get that changed. And there's a lot of reasons that people say we couldn't get it changed, but they don't make a lot of sense to me.
And as we get to know more cannabinoids, you're going to want to test for more cannabinoids because they're whole plant medicine. Like, you're going to want to test for CBGs. You're going to want to test for CBCs if you're like, maybe want to make medicine for somebody with diabetes. You're going to want to test, you're going to want to grow the 1-to-1s. I promise you.
A state lab that works with us as an industry is what we need, in my opinion, to sort of move this forward and set up the standards for the smaller labs if they intend to stay in business.
Do you guys want to talk about any of this other stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We have somebody had put some input. It says, how do people feel about hemp-derived THC? Several states have banned, some have incorporated into their cannabis programs. Proposed amendments to Farm Bill range from increasing allowed THC amount of hemp to federal ban. What should New Mexico do?
And that's a good question, because that issue it's not a question of if it will come to New Mexico, it's when. And it could be this legislative session. There's been talks of it too. So yeah, I think a good conversation about that needs to happen for sure, or needs to happen.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
There's something in my eye.
Oh, okay. She's gonna go, I have some saline in my bathroom if you need. But yeah, so testing, one thing that I've noticed too is with hemp, they have the inspector go, if someone from Department of Ag, take the sample from you, and then, they send it to the lab for you. And then, they put it, well, they don't send it for you, sorry, they put it in a little bag for you, and then you send it to the lab, like an evidence bag. And I kind of feel that needs to happen because there's too much cherry picking going on nationwide with testing. And if you start your sample out as a very cherry picked sample, then you're going to get a very cherry picked test result. So you're going to get like this 30%, whatever. But then most of the people, they're selling the whole plant. So they're selling the larf. And some people are retesting it, finding out it's 8%, 13%. 16%. And even then, the 30% thing we're finding out isn't really correct to start out with, because there's a variance to start out with when testing. So there's that. And now we just have to be really careful about how we go about this. Do we want the state to do the collection, or do we want to allow the producer to still do it like they do today? But we know what issues we run into when that happens. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, the cherry picking thing, it's kind of an issue, to be honest. Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you want to jump on, Andrew, and explain the ring testing thing a little bit more, and get it on there? Because, this is for you guys to come and talk. We don't have to do it all in text for sure.
We don't have to do all the talking.
Yeah, we don't have to do all the talking. You guys, this is for you guys to do the talking, not me. I want you guys to do the talking for sure.
Sorry, we're trying to catch up with all the messages.
Yeah, that's one reason too. Is we have a hard time going through the comments and everything. It'd be easier if you guys would just jump on and say your piece too, versus us trying to read it out. Plus, I got New Mexico level reading, so it doesn't always work out the best.
I got this one here.
Okay.
The spending of the budget line items is reported and public, and the request for the budget line items are also public. For instance, the details of what DOH spent on what and how much they're requesting to spend. The request for this next budget round included adding more inspectors and more vehicles to them for them to drive and from inspections.
Yeah, they requested about $61 million. What was it, like almost, was it $2 million? Was it $2 million for 10 inspectors or something like that? Or was it, what was it? I forget the number, but ended up being they were getting almost like $200,000 each. Yeah, and that's because in everything we've seen, it's not the breakdown of exactly what that's going to go to. We just figure that's for just those guys. So, yeah. And then
hey, Ted.
Hey, there we go. Go ahead,
Andrew. From Carver Family Farm. My wife and I own Carver Family Farm. I just want to say that in cannabis for about over 10 years, both of our main inspiration and mentor is actually the original chief research scientist for Steep Hill, and so we get a lot of consulting from him. He's a terpene PhD scientist and testing lab research scientist. So a lot of our stuff is quantified and comes with backing to it. Currently, if you look at the test results, a lot of them they look great, but when you kind of double down on them, you'll see that secondary terpenes are showing up higher than the primary terpenes, which is scientifically impossible. Things like osamine work in relationship with humulene and neurolidol, and you'll see neurolidol is a 1%, which doesn't happen in cannabis. And so we've actually called some of these labs out, and they admit there's anomalies and that we shouldn't be paying for them, and it's a really interesting landscape currently. As a micro license, we are extremely small batch. I don't think that people realize some of our tests are for less than a pound or a pound. We just did a 1-to-1. We breed our own stuff. We did a 1-to-1 cart that I think we had 40 grams, which is 80 carts total. So this cost us a lot of money. I think we're at $30,000 in testing this year. So we also, with that many tests, every 2 weeks we pull a ring down, we have 8 strains or more. So we're doing 8 tests every 2 weeks, right? And so I can overlay these tests and see and graph them out and see complete inconsistencies. We'll go to one lab, we'll have a terpene percent 5. One different lab, the same strain will be 0.6. A different lab will be 10%. We've sent one lab the same. Basically, we'll make a distillate product, but it's heated RSO. So basically, trim wash that goes to heat, and then we'll press that and make a cart. We sent that out one time. It came back 80% THCA. The exact same sample came back 80% Delta 9. So which one would you give your grandma? So I asked the lab that, and he agreed that you can't so. I think the hard part for us is we are completely science forward. We are going to get Larry Barker's going to pull something off our shelf and take it to a different lab. and it's going to show. You can literally like use the labs to inflate your potency and use a different. Like if you test your what you're making your edibles out of, and then use a different lab, you can have it test lower than it actually is, so people think they're getting really hot, or oh, your stuff's flash, because you can use the labs to manipulate the outcome. I don't think a lot of people know this, and like so, a ring test is where. And I think my understanding is that in California they did it, but they didn't publicly publish the ring test. And so what happens is everyone gets the same homogenized sample, and they publish their data on what they get. And then you see who's close, who's far out, and then you can kind of understand how close these labs are. And I think what happened in California is that they were so far off that the data was hidden from the public.
Interesting.
So we actually, my wife spoke to the Legislative Finance Committee about what we thought would be helpful for labs, and currently it's the ring testing. So that way we can get a baseline of how close these labs actually are. And we've had a 13% and a 38 on the same strain.
That's a big variance, and already we know it's at like 10%. You know,
I have friends that get paid bonuses based off of THC, so that's a kind of interesting quandary too, right? So I can get paid more if I use a different lab. I mean, it's kind of silly and laughable currently, in my opinion.
Well, and I don't know what you mentioned about California testing. From my understanding, is they did away with like 60% of the labs, and then did standardization, and that's why all the numbers came down. They did a state standardization of each
Only about
lab.
20 were able to pass.
Right.
Or less. I think it was like 12 or something. Yeah, and percentages went down to the low 20s immediately, which is about where they should be.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, these 30%, you know, it's not really as accurate as people are, you know, really passing off as. And this whole THC thing is a sales gimmick, and that's what, you know, the consumer's really figuring out, is that high THC doesn't really mean anything other than it's just high THC. It has its place, but not for everybody.
I think the hard part is then we sell it on terpenes, and the terpenes are showing secondaries as higher than the primaries, and the terpene and neurolidol is the highest terpene, and those aren't right.
Yeah.
So the information we are paying top dollar for isn't quantifying what we're selling to the patients.
Yeah.
And so then I don't trust the THC. I've proven I don't trust the terpenes. I've proven I don't trust. Like, what else is wrong? Right? Are they passing microbials and pesticides? Another thing that my understanding is that the labs themselves, if they get a pesticide thing positive, they don't actually have a button to push to report that to CCD. It goes directly back to the farm to be able to cover it up themselves.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, that's
so the CCD doesn't really understand who the bad players are, because they can either remediate it or throw it away before it becomes an issue, where it should be, if you're using something that we shouldn't be using or wrong, you should be called out for that. The CCD should know.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that information.
Yeah.
And their testing equipment should also be tested too. And I think that's the biggest part. And that's when Eric was talking to the finance committee. They admitted that I don't mean this is going to sound wrong. They admitted that their field inspectors aren't trained in testing. Like, it makes sense. And that comment was right. All these reference standards are coming from the same place. Yep. I mean, I don't know if now you had to have a DEA license. Like, the standards are completely, they're reference standards for science. So that's not the issue.
Yeah. Oh, we're writing this down.
And another thing, I want to skip really quick before I get off of here, that we keep talking, I think it's the big guys and the MSOs talking about capping licenses, right? Like, I think is capitalism. We should have open licenses. Is a small business state. That's what we're known for, and capping licenses would be pretty dumb. I think that one of the main reasons we got a micro license is because our plant count is capped in the bill. Every time the bill is going to go up, water rights are going to come up, and it's going to be really hard to take my plant count away. In the bill, it also says in the 26-2C-40 that every September they should be looking at the current state of our market and readjusting the plant counts depending on our market.
That's true. You're right.
And so the reason we have a micro is that I can implement my facility and not be affected. Other people took a gamble And it's a gamble. We have oversaturation. No, don't shut down licenses. Lower the plant counts. And if
Yeah.
you went
Right.
too far without reading that, then that's too bad.
Yeah. And then the enforcement issues that we have too that doesn't help us at all.
Right.
Like we just
I
said,
think
that
200
Farmington
plants,
one.
like they're not going to raise that. My understanding and talking to people, that's not something they're interested in doing. They might tie it to a percentage of the big guys, but it's a micro license. The original medical producers were at a 99 plant count.
Yeah. At the very
So
beginning.
200
Yeah.
plants, like we could add 3 more rooms. We need a bigger building to have 200 plants.
Yeah.
And so I think that we are in a great space with the micro license. I was actually on a panel in Colorado at Living Soil event last week, and I had people from Germany coming up complimenting our micro license setup.
Wow.
The country is watching, they know what we're doing, and there are people in Minnesota, Michigan, Washington, all over in the wings watching what we're doing, ready to go to their Congress and their Senate to ask to mimic what we're doing.
That's great to hear because
So
I
I
wanted
think
us
that
to
we
be
need to realize the micro license, we are doing big things. It's up to us to prove it with work, not words.
100%. You know, we have some of the best micro brews in the nation, and you know we're gonna have some of the best micro cannabis too. And I think we're already hitting that already, to be honest.
For sure.
So yeah.
What I was told also, sorry, one last thing is that when we talk to the state, is talk to it about liquor, because they just went through all of these laws and they understand liquor. They understand the liquor licenses and what that did. So when you talk to them about like how the liquor license is with like cottage events and things like that, it's going to resonate more, and we will get farther if we tie it to what they just witnessed in alcohol.
What they know.
Yeah, that's a
Which
great
I'm not too
point.
brushed up on that, but my understanding is use the same language that they're used to talking about, and that's how we'll push micros, and that's how we'll get consumption. I mean, you can get a party with beer. We should be able to do the same thing if you explain it to them in that way. I think they'll get it. So thank you.
I agree too. Thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate
Thank
that.
you, for sure.
This is Valerie. I just wanted to say hello. You know, the last time that I remember seeing you, and I feel like you were so much a part of those early days in the, you know what I mean. And the last time I saw you was when we were at Steep Hill, and I think that both you and I felt like, yes, we're making some progress. Steep Hill came to town, and I had such high hopes from that. And they were here just a year.
Me too. We're actually, our grow and building, our vertically integrated micro is in the building Steep Hill was in. So we actually have a really good connection to the buildings where our flower rooms were the old testing labs.
Far out.
Our dispo was the intake room for Steep Hill. So.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say hello, and it's very good to like connect with you.
Definitely. You too, Valerie.
And your wife. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And our one-to-one is named after Kimron DeCesar, which is the chief scientist for Steep Hill. So
Far
as a
out.
nod to him, and we suck clones of it. So.
Well, we were on the right to track with Steep Hill, and we certainly got kicked off of it by some other interested parties. So, or some uninterested parties.
Andrew, it's Larry Love. Keep up the good work.
Hey, thanks, Larry. I miss seeing you.
Yeah, I'll come see you soon. I promise. I live here now in Albuquerque. So
Oh, nice. Thanks, man.
Cool. Thank you so much. Anybody else want to join in? Please, you know, that was a great conversation, and we could probably get more done through the voice versus the chat, because there's a lot of conversations going on right now. I'm like, oh my God, there's too much going on. It's like my ADHD mind and text. But yeah,
Just,
you know, go ahead.
Oh, just to piggyback on what Andrew said about the liquor license, right? Because I've worked in the food and beverage industry, and I've been fortunate enough to they have like a canopy license, and your canopy license would be the licenses you could take and go have party consumption all over. You know, and then the package is how they take it out and stuff. So those are just the whatchamacallits, or, you know, the wording that would probably help those lawmakers figure it out. Because back in the day, you know, a liquor license, they did make a cap that you could only spend like $250,000 or $500,000 for a license, and then the lawyers would catch you for $500,000 to convert it over or move it over. So we don't want to do, I'm a big fan of, not capping any license. And then we have problems with CCD. I don't know if y'all are aware, Maggie's Farms got hit pretty hard with all their stuff. And they allowed all that product to be sold on the market. I was made of it today by a dispensary in Hobbs that asked me, well, how do they sell in $25 ounces next door to me? I was on Maggie's Farms, like, yeah, it's Maggie's Farms. And so I got on there to the CCD thing and read through, and they were allowed to sell everything as is to the retailers. And if they needed to get extra testing or whatever, it was on them. But yeah, so they were allowed to get rid of that entire damn harvest. So, we're talking about helping micro license, and we're allowing 80,000 plus plants that are on the market that we know that you're playing Russian roulette. So, that's going to affect the price of the pound and everything else like that. Like, if we do, we don't need to, kind of slap anybody on the hand. When you get caught jacking around with 80,000 plants and not on BioTrack and having systemic and parethians and all that shit, and you're supposed to be a badass from Colorado, there is no excuse for what happened. That's complete negligence, or you just hate us. That's how I feel. You allowed the CCD allowed them to put that stuff on the market. I'm trying to keep it as nice and sweet possible. Allowed to put that on the market. That, there's a real problem right there. No matter how much we want to, police stuff, if we're going to allow stuff like that to happen, that's just terrible. And then, you have Swazi that lost, I think $16 million last quarter, maybe, if I'm right. I don't know. I've been looking at the stock market stuff. What are those people going to do to protect their interests with that type of money? Like, who are they greasing? And Chad, I know, and Valerie too, I know y'all know this very much so. The deals that are done in the back rooms that we never talk about, and then we show up to this dog and pony show, and we fight and we have a great fight, but the answer is always the other one because it was made in the back room. We've been a part of that so many times. So we definitely need to make everything more transparent and just get it out there. That's for sure. I think, and then with our lawmakers, we definitely need to educate them and have them accountable. Be like, this is, if you don't know, here, I'll give you a 6-year-old rundown of what we need to do. Or what my thoughts are that might help, and be the devil's advocate and tell me how it won't. Let's go to town. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents again. Sorry.
No, I'm so glad to hear your voice again. We definitely did some advocacy.
I've been getting well, through things in the industry and stuff, and it just didn't work out, and I'm still dealing with it and everything else, and just I'm back in the mountains. I think that does me well. I'm in Tiburon. I just took over a cultivation site up here. It's a small little thing of like 60 lights. It's fun, and getting to play. And actually, this is what I wanted to do in the industry since I got here. And I've tried everything else just to get funding to do this. So it's been a wild ride, mentally and physically and everything else. And but I'm blessed. I'm still in it. Get to do it. And I've just flipped the switch being up here and good mountain air. And I'm just like, let's get New Mexico back on track to whoop ass on a nation level. We're good at fighting. Let's not fight each other all the time. We can do it a little bit because it's fun, because that keeps our skills up, right? But let's go after everybody else. And let's be honest, like, Texas is a huge market, and we know the nationwide's coming. So we need to get frosty. And we need to do what every other state's done to us, and every other state that goes new. We take advantage of the other state, and we help them and make money for our market. And like I said, if we can do it better, and we know Texas, there ain't much. Land's expensive there, and there's a lot of people. So we can be able to produce a great quality cannabis for a magnificent price, and just really be able to work the entire market, I think, in the nation. And I think we just need to start, like y'all said, like these things right here, talking about it, making it better, getting resources and us coming together. And realistically, well, Chad knows, we used to rattle the snot out of the politicians with emails, phone calls, to where they would get text messages and calls. They'd be like, make it stop, please, God. What do you want? I will talk with you. You know, and they didn't have to like us, but it was fun, right? It was funny to get those calls. So, you know, it's just, I think going back to that, I think it's going to be easier now for us because there's a lot more people than the medical. Like the medical was a hell of a fight. And Valerie knows. Like it was even when they started this war, it was great. And so you know, us showing up 7 years later, it was still hell of a fight because it was so small. I think with all what we have now, and you know the way we're expanding, if we can do it the right way, it definitely could be a huge thing. You know, for New Mexico. And I, you know, we don't have many industries that could impact our state like this can if we do it right.
I totally agree, and that's been my dream from the beginning.
Yeah. So yeah.
We have
Let you know,
frosty, clean craft weed here.
Yes.
I don't know who I'm talking to.
Oh, is that?
What is that?
There's a fly on the freaking camera.
There was a fly in here trying to jump in my mouth.
I believe we can, and then finding genetics and stuff. Like y'all were talking about having, there used to be this thing called Philo Galaxy. And it's where everybody could send their testing results, and it was like a galaxy, and it would explain like genetics really, really close together. Like, I mean, really, really get down to the T. Well, these assholes took all that information and made a breeding project out of it, like they said that wouldn't. So I think people might be scared to do, you know what I mean, to have something. But I think in the state, like I think it's Oregon, I believe, if I remember correctly, Oregon has all the information of what you yield.
Uh-huh.
So you can tell, like, so we can get back into that ego thing being a grower, right? Like everybody has their yield or whatever. And then we could even cross it by square footage or whatever. And I mean, we could make it a lot of fun if we just had those statistics. And we know BioTrack has them. So if there's, and you know there's a way to pull it off. And then no matter what seed to sell program we have, I think they're all going to suck. You know, metrics sucked. I just think we need to work with one and really fine tune it for New Mexico. And maybe not make it so much Oregon Trail. Through my understanding, our BioTrack was a expensive BioTrack that was made for Washington, and then New Mexico wanted to add a bunch of other shit and do it for like the price of $50,000. So, you know, New Mexico trying to get a deal, I think, might be some of the issue with our seed to sell program too. But I think if we do invest some money into that and make it better, so, you know, I really think we could make it and improve it there. But we just have to have the funds. And you know, and $61 million to CCD, I don't know. I have a rough time with that. That's a lot of money. And we need to make sure, like training. Like, I mean, we need to get training first before we just start throwing out a bunch of money. You know, I think so. And if we get better training and stuff, like I said, I've had a few inspections. And one of them was like in a 4-acre farm with, you know, a bunch of greenhouses and 32 greenhouses. And they brought 2 inspectors in because they didn't know it was that large, which was cool. And both those inspectors were just super, super cool, nice, asking great questions, and even other things, you know, about the other company I worked for. So that was interesting, you know. Yeah, I think we definitely have a chance to be the best if we can just get this you know, tackled right. And the MSOs and stuff, I don't think we need to allow, I don't believe the stacking of license, I don't think that should be allowed. I believe that'll limit the big guys. And then I remember, if I remember correctly, our license we started out with was 2,000. And then everybody, you know what I mean, for the biggest producers. And then everybody got in an uproar for like, oh my God, we're going to run out. Well, we would have maybe, if those, like, you know, 18-wheelers of 30,000 pounds or whatever didn't get caught, and then and then they were told to just make sure it got taxed. You know, the bureaucracy got into it again. So, you know, there's things like that that happened or whatnot that, you know, but no, I'm with it. Like Andrew said, like, if you gambled and jacked all this up and made this huge stuff and we bring down the number, well, I guess you're going to have to deal with it, or maybe you have to auction some of it off to lease it for some sharecropping.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Good point.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Another point I haven't really heard B bring up is drive-throughs. So how do you all feel about drive-thrus? Do you think they are beneficial, or do you think that they are a danger?
Oh, little savage, they're so beneficial. The drive-through we did for Captain Soup Sandwich over there. Yeah, I don't even call him his name, Soup Sandwich. Son of a bitch. Anyways, sorry, I'm not getting riled up. But anyways, so opening up that 24-hour drive-through, I think it was our first or maybe second or third patient after midnight was a husband and wife that just got out of the hospital, and they just walked out. They just bailed. They're like, we're breaking out of this son of a buck. So they come out, they did that, and then he came and got edibles for her, and he needed a couple of joints to deal with her, is the way they told me. You know what I mean? But this was such a special thing because right then and there, it personally showed me the access of like 24-hour one, and then the drive-through. And then watching people, through the drive-through, we have 450 to 500 people a day. We had a thing called the 100 transaction challenge, and Nicole trained people on it. And they would put them at the drive-through, and they would make 100 transactions in one shift. And the people that you would see, the access, one of the most amazing things to me was watching the parents and their children in the back seat. So they would drive through, get their meds, and just keep going.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm not a parent, right? I don't have kids, so I was appalled that they would be like, yeah, we just leave sometimes the air conditioner on and just go in the store. And I'm like, oh, damn, that just, and I just thought that was odd. And then the drive-through really helped them out. So you know what I mean? And I think when you talk drive-through, I think what happens is people are thinking, everybody's taking bong hits in the drive-through and stuff like that. But to really make sure that stays, you just go right back to our medical, right? You can compare our drive-thrus to any other drive-thru that's a medicinal side, like every CVS, Walgreens, Walmart in the world. And we have it. We brought it for COVID, because Organica was the first company that tried to do drive-thrus in 2016, maybe. And the Department of Health was like negatory. We were fighting for it because we were like, well, it's like, medical, let's talk about pharmacies. They do it.
Yeah.
So I believe our drive-thrus, I believe we have that standpoint right there. I mean, we're helping people. And then, how many children patients, pediatric patients we have that, they can help with their parents in the car and tell them what they need or whatnot even there, So I just think we steadfast on the drive-thrus, and when people go after it, they're going to compare it to the alcohol again. That's where that's coming from.
Exactly.
Is because I'm that old that when I was growing up, they had drive-through liquor stores. And I'm not going to say it happened, but there's people that were underage that drove through could get booze all the time. And they truly believe that. So maybe if we have the CCD maybe do ID stings like they did in Colorado, you know what I mean? That would help fix that. So they could be like, if they could try to get everybody in the drive-through, we were super vigilant about IDs.
So like equivalent kind of like, and not to bring Texas in it, but like how Texas has like undercover for alcohol sales to see
TABC or whatever.
Yeah, TABC.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I had to run from them when I was 20. Yeah. So no, and they do that. So we have the liquor board, right? So when I was part of a private club and had a liquor license, they had undercover stings and try to have underage people get alcohol off of us to be able to fine us. I actually had a buddy go to court one time because this girl was doing a sting for the alcohol commission in front of a Allsups, pulling a hey mister, and he took her money and was going to teach her a lesson, right? Just took her money. And he ended up having to go to court and defend himself for theft.
Wow. That's crazy. No, the drive-thrus are definitely so important to keep. And as the points being brought up here, deliveries are also something to keep in mind as well and protect. Advocate, did you have something to say?
Yeah, we see the hand raised there.
We see your hand raised.
Are they muted?
Yeah, I'm asking him to unmute. So go ahead and unmute yourself, brother. You go ahead and say your piece. You've been pretty active in the chat. It'd be great to hear from you. Oh, I think there you go. You're unmuted. Go ahead and talk. No?
But while he connects, I'll go ahead and read what he had said. He put medical cannabis deliveries being more readily available for peeps who are unable to drive but also cannot assign a caregiver but still need medical, not recreational. I can use a drive-through for my medical cannabis, but that's only when I can drive, not the times where I can't drive and still need my medicine and I live alone. So yeah, these are one of the many scenarios in which it would be beneficial for cannabis to be, or cannabis deliveries and drive-throughs to be protected because it's so much of the medical aspect.
Okay, so let's scroll up.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Thank you for that. Sorry about
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
They added something at the very top here. Maybe I'm trying.
Thoughts on deliveries?
Oh yeah, just the thoughts on deliveries.
I was hoping I could add a comment. This is Andrew from Carver.
Go ahead, Andrew.
There's a lot of talk about minors, and I saw a comment not like here, but I just saw a comment in the comment section on minors. I have a 13-year-old kid. Someone called and complained that one day in the break room my kid was doing her homework. CCD came and did an inspection. It was an employee that was mad. My kid cannot be in the parking lot until she's 21. I'm a small business owner. My wife and I are small business owners. We are destigmatizing this plant. We have no consumption. There's nothing open. Everything is sealed. There's nothing available. There's nothing that can be. The plants have THCA. There's nothing that is a risk to my kid. Everything is you can bring a kid to a liquor store if you own a liquor store and put a crib in the corner. You can bring a kid to a bar and put a crib in the corner and they can stay until 2 if the bar thinks it's okay. I'm not saying that the minors should be allowed anywhere, but I think it's pretty unfair to teach my kid as a small business owner that she can't even understand this until she's 21. Or I can get her a license to come to my shop, which I think skirting around that is pretty unfair. And then when I was talking to a judge about this, she actually mentioned that it's pretty unfair that a single mom can't shop at my store if she has children with her. We will go to someone's car and help them sit out there with them, but that shouldn't have to happen. We are lucky. We are very patient forward about, I would say 40 to 50% of our daily sales are patients. We are not, my wife and I are patients. That's where we come from. And so I understand the minor thing. People think, after seeing cookies that that's what's going to happen. But like, I'm trying to show my kid that cannabis is not an issue. It should be destigmatized. It is to be used respectfully. And we are starting a small business that, like, I would say $400 to $500 a day goes back into our city for taxes, and more than I even want to talk about. Like, we break even. All of our money goes to 280E.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people realize that the federal government gets all of our profits. We break even.
Yeah.
And our state gets a decent amount. And to teach my kid, she's probably going to grow up to be a legislator and fix some of the stuff. But like right now, it's really not fair that until she's 21, she can't even step foot on the property.
Yeah.
So.
This is something that's come up with us before with growers. Who are they're
Farmers,
in there with their cannabis and working with their cannabis, and they can't have any kids there, even some teenagers. Like nobody can help them or just even be on the property around it. They have to be a certain thing away from it. And that's kind of ridiculous because these are small businesses, and to not be able to take pride in your small business and have your child grow up knowing what your small business is, instead of treated somewhat like a mafiosa figure that you can't know about this until you're 21, or you can't, it's just a conflict that it's one of those things that really bugs me. This is a conflict that really bugs me. I think we need to bring a law forth and put some work behind it. It would take it to add that into the CRA about having kids. Or maybe it should go through rules and regs for, sometimes rules and regs might be easier, but I think it should be in the bill.
Yeah.
But not only that, but to also pass down that knowledge to the next generation. You know, as little kids, they're very curious, and that's usually when you develop a passion. You know, when you're super young, not at 21. You know, then first be exposed to it at 21 years old. We have 3 micro licenses on our property right now, and one of the micros belongs to a couple that just had a little newborn baby, and they also have like a 2-year-old. And it's just so sad that when they come here to work, like, you know, they trust me with their kids and like have to leave them up here instead of taking them back there to the garden, which what's the worst that can happen? Like nothing.
I think
Like
we all forget
they might fall
about
down,
that.
like you know, normal stuff. But with as far as the plant goes, there's no harm in it at all.
Well, and that's a lot of this where the stigma comes from. You know, it's a lot also of lack of education. I feel like, and that's something that's been brought up in these town halls, previous ones, even from last year. And it feels like everyone's pretty much in agreement. You know, if this is the family business, why can't the kids be a part of that? To continue that family business when mom and dad are gone, you know?
100%. And I think it's easy to get bipartisan support on this when we go to the ranchers and the farmers in our southern and our rural areas. Because those people are hardcore about values, generationals, you know, and even right now, like I think it's discriminatory for us not to be able to take children and use it like a trade school, or you know, and that attitude.
Right.
Because you know, like somebody like Andrews, right? Like he's one of the top, you know, true living organic growers in probably the nation. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And for him not to be able to pass that knowledge and that experience down to his children, I mean, that experience could be worth millions of dollars. And so, you know, we're here in New Mexico, we're talking about getting our youth on a different level. And, you know, we have an industry that we could probably hand to them and be super proudful. And I mean, it's been that way for generations in the state. You know, the farms, the ranches. You know, everybody knows a farmer or a rancher or somebody that went to school with somebody, guaranteed. The agricultural has touched us all. New Mexico State University is one of the largest agricultural schools in the nation. So you know, that's an easy one. I think we just need to push it and be loud about it and be aggressive about it and just use the word. You know how they can discriminate against, you know, generational, you know, information and stuff. And I mean, like they said, it's a farm. You know, I've never seen a cannabis plant like Chad and I and the rest of us and Tracy and Nicole. You know, we've all seen it at a what meeting was that in Sunland Park? You know, and those plants didn't jump out and bite anybody or run or anything like that, right? So you know, we just need to make sure they're aware of that, right? Like. You know, we went to the city hall, or city council meeting or whatever, and just talked about the plants. And I think, you know, we just need to definitely with the red team and the rural, you know, ranchers and those lawmakers, because I've already reached out to some with this, and just like, you know, it's not fair. Like, you're going to give your boy the damn farm. Why can't I teach anybody? You know what I mean? I don't have any kids, but I know, you know what I mean. I have children in my life that would be interested in this profession. So it's unfair to them, and it's unfair to the consumer in our state not to be able to do that. To have some type of program. Early on, I welded and all this stuff out of high school, and you know, we can all be pretty honest about it. That's dangerous stuff. That's gases that'll blow up and burn stuff and everything else. And the cannabis plant's a lot safer than welding and all that stuff when you get down to the facts.
I think we'll get there eventually. Just to play devil's advocate, I mean, it's a slippery slope between, my 15-year-old's just hanging out on the farm to my 15-year-old's now helping me buck down some flower. And we just mentioned earlier, you know, one of the biggest farms in New Mexico got shut down. So I think until we see those standards across the board, maybe that will help enforce that stigmatism will be lifted. But it's, you know, I don't think they're worried about the Carver family farms. I don't think they're worried about the micros that are on the up and up. I think they're worried about the farms that they can't get to or they can't check up on regularly because they're not in rural New Mexico. So, you know, I think CCD is doing a great job trying to get more people on board and trained up. I hope they're, you know, training them thoroughly and that they're looking for the right things. But that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, I also think if they didn't like spend so much time like going out to the same place over and over and over, and got in the car and drove further out into the hinterlands here, and it did more inspection than inspecting same places over and over.
Britt is asking, do you think declassification of substance will alleviate these qualms? Is that the ultimate impediment?
Mm-hmm. And then we have Savannah. Descheduling would answer a lot, but I think that's out of the conversation for now. Yeah, and I'm kind of in agreement with that because we have the DEA really hammering down on the Schedule 3 thing. Now, however, we have that hearing in December. Now, they were talking about moving it to January, but I think they confirmed it for December, and they have the speakers and everything. I didn't join it or try. I don't think I can afford to go to DC. It's really expensive. But yeah, I think that conversation, who knows, it could change, but I don't really see them deviating from the Schedule 3. Usually government entities don't really disagree like that. Like, HHS said Schedule 3, and so DEA is most likely going to go off of that unless somehow we convince them. But, you never know, that it's not impossible, just improbable.
We just
What is it Kennedy's standpoint pretty well to decriminalize it?
Yeah, like descheduling.
Kennedy, right?
Altogether.
Yeah, because that guy just threw a post down on his X or whatever, telling the FDA to keep their records and pack their bags, and he wants psychedelics and all kinds of stuff to be a part of it. And I know I was thinking his view on cannabis is pretty open too, because he's not a big fan of big pharma. So I'm pretty sure if he can take it out of their hands, he'll give it hell anyways. It is federal government. You never know what's going to happen, but dude's pretty radical, so get after it, homie. That's what I say. Let's get those mushrooms and let's get that cannabis out there for everybody and save some lives.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're working on the psilocybin thing, me and Val here in New Mexico for the medical side, so hopefully we'll see that here in a couple of years. So yeah, for sure. And well, maybe, huh? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that we could read off what he had said.
Yeah, go ahead.
And get ready that a possible strong candidate for the next New Mexico governor might be Federal Secretary of the Interior Deb Haaland, since 47 is unlikely to keep her in her current position. Who do you see as your base of support, your champions in the New Mexico legislative process with the changes in Senate and House chambers, and with whomever will be the next New Mexico governor?
So yeah, the floor is open for you guys for that as well.
I say harass them till they work with you or your direction. That's what I think. I've learned dealing with politicians and politics is you rally the troops and everybody starts calling them and emailing them, and you just beat the drum until the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
For sure. Colin just wrote in here. It says, on the conversation on minors, I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 3 and medicated until I was around 17 years of age. Damn. Whenever I stopped it. Cannabis has changed my life and my experience working in the CBD shops in Texas. There are so many families who are looking for an alternative, and isolate CBD is so fantastic. And I think the stigma is stopping people from realizing that there are other options for their children other than very psychoactive medications.
Wow, thank you for sharing your story. That is something that we hear so often, how many kids are put on pharmaceuticals, but you have to be 21 to even be on a property. And like Veronica had said, a lot of the times people live on the farm, and if they have a kid, can they not be there anymore, if that's their home, if that's going to be their family business. And sorry, is there a new one?
No. It just updated for something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So we've got 10 minutes left, guys. We want to be prompt on our time. So if there's anything else that you guys would like to add to any of the cons or the pros.
I just want to say that I think that the CBD industry is pretty much propped up on the shoulders of Charlotte Figge. We would not be where we were if a child was not the one with epilepsy and was not sitting with plants.
Yeah.
Like she's on the front of magazines sitting with plants helping our cause.
Yeah.
And those images helped destigmatize CBD.
Yeah.
And I guarantee most of those plants, because 2 was the one breeding them, weren't all CBD. It takes a lot of work to get to that 1-to-1. So she was sitting with cannabis.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the percentage. So that's all.
Cool. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Andrew.
it. Anyone else? Any last words, questions, or comments on anything before we wrap it up for this town hall? We're also going to be in Silver City here in a couple weeks. So if anybody is in the area or in Silver City or want to go or whatever, you guys are more than welcome. We're going to be at the BOA Consumption Lounge, actually. So we're going to be at an actual consumption lounge, which is going to be cool. Really big area. We're really curious to see what Silver City has to say. So it should be pretty cool. Here's right.
All right, Advocate says, I have a slightly different view. Build relationships by becoming a trusted resource. Bring them in your ideas for bills and build those policies in concert with them.
Cool.
Yeah, and essentially that's kind of what we're trying to do here. Like this is why we have our meetings and our gatherings, so that you guys have that voice. We're collectively gathering this information to tell our legislative so that we can better the program. It's up to us. We can't rely on them to know the truth behind cannabis, which is, I know it's like beating a dead horse, but it is our medicine, right? Yeah. And so all this information is all useful. We're definitely going to, log it and share it. So if you guys have anything else to add.
I actually do. This is Erica from Clover Family Farm. Hi, guys.
Hi, Erica.
Hey. I was wondering if, I know y'all have tons on your plate already, but one of the things that I was thinking about the last time when we were talking to the legislative committee is if there's some way that we can survey ourselves to find out where we are with the equity questions that they had originally asked us. I don't know if, and water usage and electricity usage and all of the things that have kind of come up as obstacles or stopping points when our stuff gets added to the conversation about water. We realized with our Grow with the Living Soil organic and all of the things that we're doing, we have really pretty stellar numbers that we want to talk about. But I think that if we can get more people talking about that, so that there isn't just this understanding of us all being out there going crazy with our water and our electricity and things like that, where we can have some actual numbers to come to the table with, would be useful moving forward. Obviously not, right now, but just something that we can start gathering.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's definitely something we can implement. An Advocate, I'm not too sure what your real name is. If you'd like, get with us afterwards and we could talk about something like that, because I do think people do need some training to get involved. And, I try my best with the things I do, but, people only listen so far or so much. So anyway, ladies, do you have anything?
I would just like to say thank you to everybody that participated. I always am able to learn so much new information as somebody that is a baby in the industry, but having a firsthand experience and listening to all of the issues really drives my passion to be able to give a voice to everybody, whether it's producers, retailers, manufacturers, or just simply advocates. And so I hope that we can also maybe build a platform from here on to have a collective on all of the important dates that are coming up that you believe and I believe and we all believe we should keep an eye on, because it is one thing to check the individual websites, but to have a supportive community like that would be really amazing to see. So I hope that that's something that we can all work towards.
Most definitely. Just want to give a huge shout out again. Thank you to everybody who's stuck with us from day one, and even if you're just tuning in and you just heard about us, and we really appreciate all the love and support. We do it because we have a passionate burning fire within for cannabis, and I think that's why we're all here. We want to continue to give that out to people and continue to do right by the plant, really. And so huge shout out to Chad and everyone, all you guys. Val, if you guys don't know who Val is the whole reason we put this together. I normally do this in the beginning, but we wanted to go ahead and like, that dang fly.
On the camera, yeah. I've been working on my house, so some flies got in here. We had the doors open, going in and out, cutting stuff. So yeah.
But yeah, we usually do that in the beginning, and we love you, Val. We do this every time, and we shout you out because without you, we would have never gotten our start in doing this. And to you guys, we applaud you guys for being a part of this too. It takes a village, and this is our village. We're essentially trying to get the ball rolling, and we're getting there.
Building a better future for the industry.
Heck yeah.
And thank you to all 5 of you guys. Like, I respect and admire what you guys are doing. It's awesome. Thank you for taking the time. You always have our support. I adore each and every one of you guys. And yeah, keep on going, guys. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate that.
Love and support all of you guys. You guys know that.
For sure.
And our next meeting will be on the 22nd of this month in Silver City.
Yeah.
In Silver City. So if you guys are down here and would like to join, and thank you for joining our first strictly online sesh. I got shy because I can't see anybody. So this has been a great experience, but I'm excited to see faces again soon. So I hope to see you all on the 22nd.
Be on the lookout for the flyer. We'll be dropping that here soon.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you all for joining me. Thank you, ladies, for driving down from El Paso, or up, I guess. And I look forward to seeing more of you and be getting more active. Once this legislative session comes, it's coming quicker than y'all think. We're going to need as many as you as possible. I can't do it by myself, and we can't do it by ourselves. We need all of us. So thank you all again, and hopefully we'll see some of you in Silver City. We're going to be in a few more places around the state. Our schedules are on our Instagrams and our socials, so you guys can check out the whole schedule for the town halls.
They're moving quickly right now.
Yes, they're moving really fast.
Moving up, one town hall after the other.
Yeah. So, we're going to end it in Alamogordo. That'll be the very last one in January. So I hope to see you guys soon. I'm out of here. Unless you guys have something to say, we're done, and I'll see you guys the next time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Enjoy the smoke sesh.
The sesh.
Sesh time. Later, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Awesome. Yay!